Egypt was a civilization of ancient northeastern Africa. Ancient Egypt was located on the narrow strip along the Nile River. The history of ancient Egypt spans out from the early pre-dynastic settlements of the northern Nile Valley to the Roman conquest in 30 BC. As stated in Wikipedia, ancient Egypt's history goes back for approximately 3,000 years. The history is divided into 8 or 9 periods, which is sometimes referred to as kingdoms. Today I'm going to tell you about the everyday life of an ancient Egyptian and what was considered the norm at the time. First off, the people in ancient Egypt had a high value on family life. Children were considered a blessing and they were treasured. The families that were considered lower class had the mother stay home to raise the children, whereas the families that were upper class had slaves and servants who helped them raise their kids. If a married couple did not have kids, they would pray to the gods, goddesses, and their dead relatives for help. Women were considered equal to men in many ways, as stated in www.ancientegypt.org, and they had the legal right to own land and represent themselves in court. Children were expected to take care of their elderly parents. When the parents passed away, the sons inherited land and the daughters inherited household goods, such as furniture and jewelry. Females usually married at the young age of 12. The boys were usually a few years older than the girls. It was very rare that young people chose who to marry because the marriages were typically arranged. Regular men normally had one wife, but kings usually had several. Secondly, ancient Egyptians' religion was based on polytheism. The ancient Egyptians had about 2,000 gods and goddesses that they worshipped. Everyone in the country worshipped Amun, but had others that worshipped individual gods as well. Most gods and goddesses were represented as half human and half animal. Temples were located everywhere in the city. Each city had a temple built for a god in that specific city. Egyptians saw death as a transitional stage and the beginning of a better life. They believed that each person had 3 souls. They also believed in embalming, which is where the priest would make a final attempt to revive the dead. The body was then washed and all organs were removed to begin the 40-day mummifying process. After about 70 days, the mummy was placed into a coffin and was ready to enter the next phase of life. Thirdly, the main way communication was done in ancient Egypt was through writing hieroglyphics and hieratic. Hieroglyphics had over 700 characters, and it was difficult for everyone to learn both languages. Because of the difficulty for everyone, scribes were taught the language, and they were also used to translate messages. Plays were also a common form of communication because the people could express their feelings and thoughts by acting out their emotions. Guys were the only ones in plays because women didn't have acting rights at this time. According to ancientegypt.com, ancient Egyptians believed that it was important to communicate information about religion and government. There was also common communication through drawings, photos, and snapshots of their daily lives. Different ranks were communicated through the clothes and the jewelry that they wore on a daily basis. In conclusion, the astonishing ancient Egyptians WordPress.com provided informative information about everyday life in ancient Egypt, their beliefs, and the main ways of communication. The everyday life consists of what was expected of adults and children. Ancient Egyptians took their beliefs seriously and turned to gods and goddesses for everything. Communication is important, and even though everyone didn't understand, they used scribes, plays, pictures, and different types of drawings to find a way to get their message across. I hope this information gave you more insight and you're more knowledgeable on the history of ancient Egypt.